Write a short note on direct and circumstantial evidence. What are the advantages and disadvantages of circumstantial evidence? Evidence is the foundation of the administration of justice. No court can give a fair decision without evidence because evidence helps the court discover the truth. Whenever a dispute or crime comes before the court, facts are required to be proved with the help of evidence. Evidence may be of different kinds, such as oral evidence, documentary evidence, direct evidence, circumstantial evidence, primary evidence, and secondary evidence. Among these, direct evidence and circumstantial evidence are very important in both civil and criminal proceedings. Direct evidence. Direct evidence means evidence that directly proves the fact in issue without requiring any inference. It relates to the exact fact that is required to be proved before the court. The witness personally sees, hears, or experiences the event and then gives evidence before the court. Direct evidence is also called positive evidence because it directly establishes the fact in question. Examples of direct evidence. In a murder case, if a witness personally sees the accused stabbing the victim and later gives evidence in court, this is direct evidence. Second, in a robbery case, if a witness personally saw the accused snatching money from another person, his statement is direct evidence. Third, in a case of assault, a witness who actually saw the attack taking place gives direct evidence. The court generally prefer direct evidence because it directly proves the fact in issue and reduces the need for assumptions or guesswork. Circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence means evidence relating to a series of facts that are closely connected with the fact in issue and from which the court can infer or conclude the existence of another fact. Unlike direct evidence, circumstantial evidence does not directly prove the fact in issue. Instead, it establishes surrounding circumstances from which the court draws a conclusion. Circumstantial evidence is also known as presumptive evidence because the conclusion is drawn through presumption and inference. Best explain circumstantial evidence by stating that where the existence of a principal fact is inferred from one or more established circumstances, such evidence is called circumstantial evidence. Illustration of circumstantial evidence. Suppose a woman living alone in a house is murdered and there is no eyewitness to the incident. The following facts are found. B was seen near the woman's house carrying a dagger. B had earlier made improper advances toward the woman. The woman had insulted B a few days before the incident. Footprints of B were found in the room where the murder occurred. After the murder, B disappeared from the locality. B was later arrested with a blood stained dagger. None of these facts directly prove that B committed the murder. However, when these facts are linked together, they form a chain leading to the conclusion that B may be the murderer. This is called circumstantial evidence under the Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam. Circumstantial evidence is included under relevant facts, and such facts must also be proved by proper evidence. For circumstantial evidence to be accepted, it must satisfy an important condition. The circumstances should form a complete chain and should point only towards the guilt of the accused and no other possible conclusion. If more than one conclusion can be drawn from the circumstances, then such evidence becomes weak and unreliable. Advantages of circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence has certain important advantages. First, circumstances generally do not lie. Witnesses may intentionally give false evidence, but surrounding circumstances usually remain unchanged. Second, a strong chain of events may prove guilt. When several circumstances are connected and form a complete chain, they may establish guilt with strong certainty. Third, Useful where direct evidence is unavailable. Many crimes happen secretly and no eyewitnesses are present. In such situations, circumstantial evidence becomes very useful. Fourth, difficult to fabricate many circumstances. It is easier for one witness to tell a lie, but creating an entire false chain of circumstances is more difficult. Disadvantages of circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence also has some disadvantages. First, possibility of wrong inference. The biggest weakness is that the conclusion drawn from circumstances may be incorrect. Second, less reliable than direct evidence. Direct evidence directly proves the fact, whereas circumstantial evidence depends upon assumptions and inferences. Third, more than one conclusion may arise. Different persons may draw different conclusions from the same facts. Fourth, requires careful examination. Court must examine circumstantial evidence with great care because an innocent person may otherwise be punished. Conclusion. Thus, direct evidence directly proves the fact in issue, whereas circumstantial evidence proves surrounding facts from which the main fact is inferred. Although direct evidence is generally considered superior, circumstantial evidence plays an important role when direct evidence is unavailable. However, courts should rely upon circumstantial evidence only when all circumstances form a complete chain leading to one definite conclusion and excluding every other possibility.